Hey, hello, friends. Welcome to another episode. I don't know, this one doesn't really have a name like the show every Thursday. Have you been tuning in to the show with Joe? Hmm? Boy, our talent just keeps getting better by the week. No disrespect to like podcast episode one, but yeah, my clients just keep getting healthier. I think the leaders that we're bringing on to the show, uh, there, there's just a resilience that I'm just loving in hearing, yes, wind in the face stories, but also a proper response for how leaders in both K-12 and higher ed are just going about things a bit differently because guess what? We're living in a different era. I had a conversation yesterday with a college president who said, 10 years ago, and named the president that was there at the time. Um, and then just talked about some of the systems and processes that didn't need to be real tight at the time in order to produce the results. She said, because we just had students that were coming in from all over the place. And even though we didn't really limit enrollment wasn't a problem. But today, wow, new mindsets, new heart sets, new everything, skill sets, right? But hey, good day. Last week I was in Phoenix doing this little live stream, and I think it was a buck 14. It was a hot one there. But I'm back in the home studio today, not traveling this week, which I prefer. I love traveling. I love delivering. My ideal space would be one travel per week. Not, I went through seasons where, yeah, I would be gone for sometimes 3 weeks at a time. And my poor wife, sometimes in the winter months, because I don't live in Arizona. We live in Minnesota where, yeah, it snows in the winter, and she's a school teacher and she has to get out early for school, and we're pretty durable up here. We don't close schools. So she was out just having to do all the driveway maintenance. Yeah, we don't hire that stuff out. We're a couple of farm kids. We we do it ourselves. And she's like, you being gone all the time, I'm still paying for it. I'm still paying for it. So one travel per week is good. Miss Becky, my wife, again, school teacher, she is this week she's doing MCA, which is the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment. She is the one, don't tell anybody, but she is the one writing some of the science questions. So she's gone away at some private private cave where they all meet in secrecy to write the MCA questions. And literally, she doesn't tell me a thing about it because she can't. She's that kind of person. She is a secret keeper. I don't know if I am. If it's a juicy one, I'm probably gonna, I'll probably reel a few of you in to go. Have you heard? Anyways, that's not Miss Becky. Let's get to the show here. I want to start with a little temperature check, just a little temperature check from the news this week. Because honestly, if you're not laughing a little bit, you're probably crying. Yeah, I mean, just Department of Ed stuff. The drama continues to unfold. Like it's reality TV coming right out of our Oval Office, right? Supreme Court just gave the green light. 1,400, 1,400 Ed department layoffs. Gonzo, or proceeding, I guess, which means somewhere in Washington, there's probably people collecting lots of belongings and trying to figure out their LinkedIn profiles again. And all of that comes with, yeah, lots of struggle. There's probably some points that, could be validated there, but the old practice of just wiping away and saying without a whole lot of critical thinking, I don't know. Firing people who understand what federal education policy is all about. Not sure who's going to close that gap. If I want to improve my golf game, I'm not going to chuck my clubs in the garbage dump. Yeah, still need the tools, still need the stuff, right? Hold on, people. Don't forget your sense of humor. right? Also, Department of Ed launched an investigation into a school district in Long Island for reportedly working to erase their Native American mascot, Thunderbirds. I don't know, benign. I, your call. I just, it's hard keeping all this straight. We're removing mascots, we're keeping mascots. Now we're fighting to restore mascots. Again, keep your sense of humor, folks. Hold on tight. Stability is a thing, isn't it? I'm looking for it. Maybe we're 3 feet from stability. That's the hope. Yeah, communication breakdowns. Yeah, there's been a few. Over 1 million students. This is one that caught my attention yesterday. Over 1 million students have left the conventional classroom since 2019, right before COVID. 1 million students seeking different approaches. I don't know if that's getting your attention. My audience primarily is you district leaders providing support and equipping your districts to be successful, but also our campus, college, and university presidents and their admin teams doing the same things, right? That's literally one student from every class in America saying thanks, but no thanks to traditional education. I'm having a few non-traditional types on the podcast coming up this fall. Yeah, there's a lot of things changing in education. I don't know if that were a restaurant, we'd be asking some serious questions about the menu, right? Yeah. So let's keep paying attention. Let's keep paying attention and let's stay malleable, folks. The system and the institution are going to buck change, but don't be the one that leads the resistance. Okay. But here's another one that caught my attention this week. Despite all the talk of just paring back on ed technology, there's a new report out that finds that district inventories are still growing. That back room that you just never wanted to go to, right, where all the tech gadgetry happens to be, and in the summertime, yeah, your beautiful media center is now just kind of this holding pen for all the stuff. Yeah. Uh-huh. So, and it's growing, even though we're kind of paring back and the devices are getting smaller, and a lot of our devices are no longer owned by the districts anymore or the campuses anymore. The students are bringing their own. So we're simultaneously trying to simplify education while we're buying more technology at the same time. I don't know. There's always more to the story, right? But it just on surface level, it kind of looks like Marie Kondoing your house while your Amazon button is getting wore out at the same time. Just more shipments, more stuff coming in. Yeah, I could spend not much more time because I'm kind of bored with that news, but I think we need to pay attention to it, don't we? The irony of the headlines today. But here's what they all have in common. Okay. I think they're symptoms of a system that aren't thinking together effectively. That's just one thing. All of the, you can't say those words on live stream. All the yuck, right, have in common is that they're all part of a system that aren't really thinking well together, whether it's federal departments, school boards, district leadership teams, campus leadership teams. The patterns are the same. Smart people making decisions in silos, insulated from each other, self-preserved from each, instead of leveraging what I'm really getting spiced up about, this collective intelligence. That's where it's at. 80% of your most important decisions must be made in collaborative spaces, but those spaces are not producing, they're underperforming. So today, instead of just diving deeper into the chaos, don't want to do that. I want to talk to you about this solution that works regardless of whether you're leading K-12 or higher ed, university, college, navigating maybe federal investigations of Your own. I want to tell you about two different leadership teams. Let me kind of set the table here. Two different leadership. Both are filled with brilliant educators. They've been tightly vetted. Anybody gone through a recruitment retention or a recruitment selection process lately? Yeah, it's like running the Burma Road, right? It's tight. It's hard. It's a struggle. It's a challenge. But both are led by capable superintendents. But only one succeeded. Two different teams. Um, let's call team one. Team one is just a prestigious university system, all Ivy League PhDs. We've got award winning researchers, lots of publications, the smartest administrators money could recruit. They had every advantage, unlimited budgets. The foundation was just open and available if they ran out of cutting edge facilities, technology up the wazoo, right? The best individual talent in higher education, but their strategic initiatives failed repeatedly. That campus is not a single campus. There's multiple campuses out there. I bump into them on a regular basis. I also bump into, let's call it leadership team two, a mid-sized school district with it's solid, but certainly less prestigious credentials. Maybe went to one of those colleges that I went to. You went where? Isn't that in the middle of a prairie someplace? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Fewer resources, but something's different here. They thought together as a team, and they became the model district that others actually wanted to put under the microscope and study to go, what gives here? Because it didn't have the wow factor, it had the whoa factor. Whoa, hold on here. This is kind of upside down. Here's what separates them. It's that individual brilliance versus team intelligence. And today I'm going to show you why your campus or district leadership team, despite having just your brilliant leaders, might be hitting the same ceiling that team one hit on a regular basis. And more importantly, how to break through it using what I call team intelligence. It's the measurable capacity of a team to think and adapt together at a level much greater than the sum of its individual contribution. So I haven't introduced Dr. Joe. We talk every Tuesday on this channel, on this platform. So if you're leading talented educators who somehow just aren't producing, they're maybe average or underperforming the breakthrough results your students and community deserve, I think this conversation is for you. So extend that lunch, just extend it a little bit. Okay, let me start with the story outside of education that changed how I think about not leaders, but leadership teams. And it's going to change how I think about them forever. It was a recent college graduate from a small unknown school applied to one of the world's most demanding tech companies in the rhymes with Silicon, right? In the Valley, right? It wasn't Harvard Business School, right? The HR email letter revealed, and you know what? We've never heard of this school in our life, but there's something about this lad. Let's give him a shot. This Fortune 500 company, it was defined by just numerous, hundreds of individually brilliant leaders. They hired only the smartest people from the top universities. Results orientation. It was the core of who they were, the core of their culture, right? With employees that were judged purely on output and achievement. But here's where this graduate discovered in his first week he was the least credentialed person in every single room. MIT grads to the left and Stanford PhDs to the right. And by every individual measure, he should not have succeeded. Yet within months, he was getting promoted. Within years, he was influencing teams of teams. Major strategic decisions he was in charge of. So When asked, he said a senior executive gave him the answer that transformed his career. He said he shared with him that the most successful people here aren't successful because of their IQ, it's because of their EQ, their emotional intelligence, but more than that, it's their ability to make the whole team smarter. And research backs this up. Emotionally intelligent leaders improve both behaviors and the overall results of the organization that have a direct impact on the work and overall team performance. But here's the deeper insight. The individual, that emotional intelligence, that wasn't enough by itself. The breakthrough came when teams developed what we're calling collective intelligence. This campus, this culture, it wasn't about smart individuals. It was about creating conditions where the best ideas won, regardless of hierarchy. Their non-hierarchical approach meant rewards were based on results, not tenure, not position, not chevrons on the sleeve. This is team intelligence, folks, in action, when individual brilliance serves towards collective breakthrough. And so the question for you, is your leadership team operating like that Fortune 500 company, or are you trapped into this individual brilliant competing against itself system? Think about that. Think about it. So let me also bring you directly to your reality, as I believe most of you are campus leaders, K-12, higher ed, especially in the light of what we're dealing with in 2025. You're leading some of the brightest minds in education. You got a lot of PhDs, EDDs, master level administrators, experienced department heads. You've got talented principals, you've got talented VPs, you've got talented provosts. On paper, your leadership team should be unflippin' stoppable. But here's what I'm hearing to the right and to the left from campus and district leaders across the country on a regular basis. You know, Joe, we've got incredibly individual talent is off the charts. I'd line them up with anybody out there, but our cabinet meetings, it feels like a collection of just competing experts rather than this collaborative problem solving group, right? Or our strategic initiatives start strong, good startup with individual input, but it fails when we move towards application that requires true team execution across the board, right? Or I can predict exactly who will dominate the conversation at the cabinet table, who will push back on everything, and who will mentally check out. And it's killing our effectiveness. Does this sound familiar? It's happening everywhere. It's the norm. But it's not providing what your students, what your community, what your team deserves. And frankly, 2025, it's not going to make it any easier. Between federal policy, uncertainty, changing enrollment patterns, tech disruptions like we've never seen before, and the kinds of headlines we talked about earlier, educational leaders today are just facing unprecedented complexity and accountability. Who wants to be the next leader? hmm So leaders navigating these incredibly complex organization in contentious political and social contexts with powerful stakeholder groups espousing conflicting policy priorities at every corner. You're dealing with everything from AI integration to cell phone policies to budget constraints to I think the kitty litter's out of the bathroom now, isn't it? Yeah. All while trying to actually educate students. Did I ever say I appreciate the work that you're doing? Yeah, these challenges they require more than individual expertise. They demand collective intelligence, but here's the gap. We spend enormous resources developing individual leaders. We fly them out to summits, we get them involved in the whatever academy while completely ignoring the science of how teams should be thinking together. This research shows that culture and cultural intelligence and emotion and emotional intelligence. They significantly reduce the interpersonal, the task, the process conflicts in teams, directly improving overall performance. The problem is not your people. The problem is that individual brilliance has become your actual ceiling. You can't break through it. But let me show you just a couple of ways that the ceiling shows up in your reality. We've got this best fit problem. Wrote a book on this. And actually, this book is morphing into another book called TQ. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's where your brilliant academic affairs VP might be a curriculum genius. You know who I'm talking about, but completely wrong, for the team dynamic your institution needs during a crisis. You know that person? Yeah. Or it's that collective IQ gap. Your team's individual credentials, it might be off the charts, but your collective decision-making effectiveness might be operating, and this is a thing, most teams, roughly about 60% of their performance potential. Or maybe it's just this overall multiplication issue, failure, right? Instead of 1 + 1 + 1 = 5, you're getting 3 + 3 + 3 = 6. Talented individuals are actually limiting each other's potential because they're optimized for individual brilliance, not team intelligence. So here's what that campus executive learned as he moved into leading a 10,000 person organization and what it means for your campus and your district. Team intelligence isn't about having smart people, it's about smart people thinking together intelligently. It's different, totally different. Let me break this down. So, that best fit assessment, it's not just the right person, but the right person on the right team role at the right time. See how that calibrates? That emotional intelligence, it includes just a deep self awareness combined with awareness of other people. We call that social awareness, right? Understanding what makes others tick and having great social awareness and conversational turn taking and all that comes with playing well together. In campus leadership terms, your student services VP might be brilliant in a crisis in managing through that crisis, but exactly the wrong energy for your strategic enrollment planning team. You know the one I'm talking about? Yeah, your academic dean having perfect individual credentials, but creates this funky dysfunction in budget discussions every single budget cycle season. So your best fit actually means placing people where their brilliance serves the team's breakthrough, not just showcasing their individual capabilities. And that's something we're so very good at, but because of that, we're so very wrongly bad at the most important stuff. So the real example, one district superintendent told me recently, discovered their curriculum director was actually better suited for community relations than curriculum development. It takes a bit of a like a linear focused brain, right, to do curriculum development. Um, but found that that switch didn't just improve curriculum outcomes, it transformed community engagement and board relations. And why didn't I do this 5 years earlier? He said. So teaching teams to think together, it's not just working together. Studies show that emotional intelligence significantly and positively affects team performance, with teams demonstrating measurable improvements in collective decision making. Can't think of really the only thing that you need to do very, very well. Collective decision making. Is there anything else that you must do in 2025 and do it to the utmost? Yeah. Yeah. So the campus leader implemented this principle in his organization by creating a feedback system where the team made every major decision better and established decision-making processes that were really clear, where the best idea won regardless of the hierarchy. You struggling with the power dynamics? Yeah, team intelligence, it does a nice job of kind of melting most of that away and building a culture system that reinforces collective thinking over individual brilliance. So, in educational terms, your leadership team needs systems for thinking together about complex problems, not just reporting individual department updates. Talk about a yawner. Okay, let's have our next admin meeting. All right, department updates. And it takes flipping 50 minutes. Nah, wrong model. We don't have enough time for that anymore. So, another practical application, instead of traditional cabinet meetings where every person just reports their area, implementing what we would call collective problem solving sessions, where the entire team tackles one major institutional challenge. And let's really tackle it like problem solving in our admin meeting. Don't you think we've gotten past just nuts and bolts in sharing information? Don't you think we've gotten past, and don't you think we've arrived now, should have been arriving at your 2-hour admin meeting should be a problem solving meeting, not an info exchange meeting. I still don't understand why that doesn't happen more often. So you've got to have an operating system. That's a thing also. Embedding team intelligence into how your institution actually operates. Research on organizational culture shows that it plays a critical role in performance, with top management needing to foster comprehensive views on organizational culture for sustainable growth all the time. The campus leader, in this case, learns that your culture eats strategy, all of it, for bedtime snacks, all of them. No matter how brilliant your strategic plan, we're just we're in that season right now. Hey, Joe, will you help us with our strategic plan? And I often just find myself saying, no fucking way. Because he didn't follow the last one for the last 5 years. Okay. So if your team culture operates on individual brilliance rather than that collective intelligence, you're hitting the ceiling, and you will hit the ceiling again in 2030, right? When you come up for air after your next strategic plan. So lots of real life examples, but we're going to kind of cut to the chase here. I want to talk about just a case study, if you will. Something comes to mind. The research shows that professional learning networks, they improve the capacity of your leadership. It strengthens the professional learning communities, but it also leads to district-wide improvements. So here's the situation: a multi-campus community college system. It's struggling with completion rates. Can you relate? Yeah. Struggling with industry partnerships. Can you relate? Lots of other struggles as well. The problem is each campus operated like a separate institution. I've served in those 10 campus districts. District meetings were information sharing, not collective problem solving. Innovations at one campus never really spread to the others. That's traditional. That's normal. That's as expected. Team intelligence approach, to implement a collective problem-solving protocol, structured ways that the leadership team actually thought together about complex district or campus-wide challenges. The specific changes, the monthly leadership retreats focused on one major district challenge using collective intelligence protocols, leading to cross-campus project teams with rotating leaders based upon their best fit for each initiative as it was required. And also shared metrics that required collaborative achievement across all campuses. So we're not competing, folks. We're completing. That's the thing, right? In a campus where that was happening most often, actually the student completion rates increased by 23% over, it wasn't quite 24 months. It was about an 18-month period. Industry partnerships soared, doubled actually. But most importantly, innovations now spread naturally across the system because the leadership team thinks collectively, not individually. So that's just another case study. But here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to go to higherperformancegroup.com. We have created, and this is not a solicitation, it's when you have a solution for something, it might sound salesy, but we've delivered enough of these assessments now where I know that they've been needed and they're just in time. So, higherperformancegroup.com, take a peek. Up in the right-hand corner, you're going to see Discover Your Team Intelligence. Click on that button, and it'll take you a spot where you can register for the Team Intelligence Assessment. I want you to go there. It's a 5-minute team intelligence diagnostic specifically designed for your educational leaders, for your campus leaders, for your district leaders. Preferably the end size is 10 or more. Otherwise, we're going to have skew. But you will discover in taking this assessment your leadership team's current collective IQ versus individual expertise levels. You're gonna see your best fit misalignments, perhaps. You're gonna see which team members are multiplying collective intelligence and which ones are more accidentally or dividing it. How your teams are thinking, some of the patterns involved there. I just did a review with the campus president yesterday, and there were just more aha moments where communication and culture and situational awareness and all of those things are coming to light just vividly to see, instead of us doing these general kickoff events, why wouldn't we personalize and do some custom farming to really get to the root of some of these problems? In this case, this campus, they really cared for each other, but they resisted bringing conflict up at the meeting. They'd rather talk about it in the parking lot, and it just was doing some funky things to the campus culture. So yeah, register for that assessment. Again, higherperformancegroup.com, go up into the upper right-hand corner, Discover Your Team Intelligence. Maybe you're clicking into that right now. You'll see a couple of buttons. One is register for the team assessment. You can look at the white paper. That's the research that we've pulled together really over the last 6 or 7 years. But there's also a keynote if you'd just like to kick off. It's part inspiration, it's part challenge, be honest, and it's part equipping. So it's a very, very practical keynote. You might want to take a peek at that as well. And then after the assessment is done, you can schedule your complimentary educational, your leadership team intelligent consultation. It takes about 30 minutes. It's usually just me and the president, me and the superintendent talking through your results. But you're welcome to bring the team in to make that more of a group effort. And then the third, because oftentimes we'll just see that there's a pattern that needs to be broken. And it's not about bringing in a new leader. I don't know how many new soups are coming in July 1, Happy New Year. I don't know how many new presidents are coming in on campus, Happy New Year. But you're not the fix. Okay? Take take that pressure off, boss. You're not the fix. I do think that you have the responsibility to build a really healthy team. And yeah, that's hard work. But we can help you. So I'd like you to consider, after taking that assessment, we can run through the consultation, see where maybe some of the gaps are analyzed, to consider the Leadership and Culture Institute, where we've got numerous workshops that, again, can be customized to your very needs. And it doesn't have to be a long engagement. Some institutes are only 90 days long, because if we just got a little bit of work, and we can occlude that gap. But others are multi-year. But it's that investment to ensure that we are recreating the teams to recreate the systems. Because I asked this the other day, is the system broken? And not one person disagreed. Yeah, our system is broken and it needs to be rebuilt by healthy teams. And our culture across education is suffering because of broken systems. So my goal is always to create irresistible cultures that get 13-year-olds thinking, what do I want to be? I'd love to be a teacher. When's the last time you heard that? Authentically, when's the last time you heard that and you weren't in a European country? That's my hope. That is my goal, is that we reclaim this space. We reclaim this space, but it can only be done, boss, if you are willing to build a really healthy team that is willing to create an incredibly smart system that will need to go to work over the next 5 to 7 years, probably not that long if we do it right, but to go to work to create an irresistible culture that everybody wants to be a part of. Just imagine if you had all of your people running to work and then walking home instead of the other way around. And unfortunately, it is the other way around. Yeah. September might be a little bit different, but come February, what's the culture? What's the climate? Yeah, but start with that assessment. I think you can transform. You can't transform what you can't measure. So we offer just a way to put that on the table as a baseline instrument. So here's the truth: your students, your faculty, your community, they deserve leadership teams that think as intelligently together as they do individually. Every strategic initiative, every budget decision, every crisis response depends on your team's collective intelligence. The question isn't whether you have smart leaders. They don't get any smarter, right? The question is, are your smart leaders making each other smarter? Or are they accidentally making others less effective? Unfortunately, 3 plus 3 plus 3 shouldn't equal 6. Yeah, team intelligence gives you the answer. And more importantly, it gives you specific steps to transform your leadership team into the collective intelligence your institution must have. Oi, today. Yeah, that campus executive learned something about transformation, not just in his career, but eventually that effectiveness uh, had some life-changing impact to every one of those 10,000 people that he influenced. So individual brilliance can take your institution far, but team intelligence can take your institution everywhere. Yeah. And wouldn't you like to be that system that has the everywhere impact? Mm-hmm. Your campus, your district, your students, your community, they all deserve it. They deserve 2025 not to be the year of breakdown, even in the face of all the funky, yucky stuff going on right now. Collective intelligence is where it's at. If any of this resonated, and if you've got some questions about how all of this bubbles up into a very objective process, I'm not into programs, but a process and an experience, go to higherperformancegroup.com and you can click around anywhere there, and you can find a way to get a hold of us. But even better yet, consider doing a team assessment, and from there we will have the chance to connect, not face to face, but camera to camera, right? So those challenges you face, enrollment pressures, budget constraints, political scrutiny and uncertainty, tech disruption, changing student needs, all of the, they're not individual problems. It's not yours to own, boss. They're collective challenges that require collective intelligence. Take that assessment, schedule your consultation, and let's transform your highly talented but individually focused leadership teams into the collective intelligence system that your institution must have to thrive. Because great campus leaders don't scale. Great campus leadership teams do. Go to the website, higherperformancegroup.com. Take the team intelligence assessment designed specifically for campus leaders. Let's turn your individual brilliance into collective breakthroughs. Your students are counting on you. I'm counting on you. Okay. Your community deserves it. Look across the curb. That's who we're fighting for. And your leadership team is capable of it. We have a thing at HPG that says, who says we can't?